Hey there, everyone. Just a very quick message to let you know Gerard Christopher and Dean Kane are both going to be attending Fanboy Expo in Orlando. I believe it's going on from the 6th to the 8th, and it's at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida, which is obviously where they shot Superboy. So, any of
Yep.
our viewers that happen to be living in Florida or at least close enough that you can go, if there's still tickets available, head on down there because Dean Kane and Gerard Christopher are actually going to be doing a panel together, which I don't remember that ever happening before. So I'm sure that would be interesting. I seriously hope that Gerard brings up the whole story about almost getting the part in Lois and Clark. That would be interesting to hear him actually discuss with the guy that ended up playing it. So yeah, go check that out if you're in Florida. Hope you have a wonderful time. We'll see you.
Welcome back, Superboy Beyond fans. It's your ever-present hosts, Tom and Chris. We're going to do a Beyond commentary today. We're going to go back, way back, to the beginning of Superman in film. We're going to go to one of the great Max Fleischer Superman cartoons today. We're going to actually take the absolute first one, which is alternately known as Superman and Mad Scientist. Okay. So we're going to just jump back into the past, as it were. So again, for those of you who have not been with us before, you'll not see any bits of the episode in the episode. There's going to be a heavily filtered version right up there, so you can keep in track with us. This is only, I think, like 8 or 9 minute short.
Yeah, 10 minutes at most, I think.
Yeah. So get your DVD or your Blu Ray ready, and cue it up for episode 1 of Max Fleischer's Superman, known as Superman or the Mad Scientist. And I'll count you in with a 3, 2, 1 action, because this is a 1940s episode. So 3, 2, 1 action.
A Paramount picture, which I never get used to seeing before a Superman project.
Yep.
So yeah, we was thinking last week, is there any Superman project that would just be fun to watch as a Beyond? And yeah, this is one of the first things I thought would be fun. I don't remember seeing any other reactions to these on YouTube. Don't know why. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe there's certain episodes a bit later on that a lot of people don't want to react to.
Yeah,
we all know why.
I can think of 2 of them.
Yeah.
Jungle Drums and the Japateurs.
Yeah. But you can always just skip those. But yeah, another reason I wanted to watch this is purely because it is so stupidly hot in the UK today. We just wanted to get something quick done. So apologies that this week's upload is only 10 minutes long.
Yep.
But it's the middle of summer and we're melting.
And this is actually the first of the Fleischer cartoons, and it's the art style on this that actually later influenced Bruce Timm with Batman the Animated Series.
And then he did Superman the Animated Series and went completely away from it,
Although the original plan with Superman the Animated Series was to be more like Batman.
Yeah. But then they even changed Batman just so it would fit in. And I'd never liked the revamped Batman designs when they changed it all up. I never liked Joker with the black eyes, with the white pupils,
and losing the red of his lips. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like the new Catwoman or Penguin designs in it, but the originals were much better.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. The new version of the Penguin where he looks more human was better for me.
I quite liked the original one. Looked kind of like a combination between Danny DeVito and the comic books. It was a nice sort of middle ground. That's what I appreciated about it.
Yeah.
Wonderful animation on this. Like you've got to just appreciate all those little shadows on the hands and stuff. Even like,
Well, you
let's
got to
face it,
remember.
even today they don't bother with half those shadows.
Yeah, you got to remember with this, they were actually using rotoscoping for a lot of stuff.
Mm. I don't know why they don't do that more often these days.
Well, it rotoscoping, and it's very. If you watch any of the Filmation animated shows from the 70s and 80s, you can see why it's very costly.
It's very costly.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
you're you're actually filming people doing things, and then you're taking the film and you're drawing it.
Drawing over it. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's got to make the animation slightly easier because you don't have to draw it frame by frame from imagination. It's got to save a
Yeah.
bit of time. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the difference between drawing and tracing a little bit.
Mm,
Granted, there's a great deal more that goes into it, clearly, because this looks gorgeous. But
yeah.
the last sort of is rotoscoping, is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last film I can think that did that was there was a Keanu Reeves movie called A Scanner Darkly like 10, 15 years ago. And
Yeah.
that movie from start to finish was rotoscoped and it looked gorgeous. I don't know why more movies don't do it, but I guess, like you say, it's just an expense thing.
Plus, it's kind of a lost art. Unfortunately, everybody wants to use CGI for their animation.
Yeah.
I think they went a little overboard with this crow character.
I don't
He's
know. I
too
quite like the Crow.
he's too anthropomorphic and
True.
such. Because I mean, they're trying to do a realistic comic book here, and that just takes it back to what the Fleischer studio was known for, which was funny animals and such.
Still, if you're going to have an animal that is slightly too intelligent for the show that you're making, I guess having it be sort of the animal of a mad scientist makes the most sense. Maybe
Yeah.
its intelligence has been increased via experimentation or something. But yeah, I do get what you mean. But I always thought the crow thing was good. It always reminded me of Iago in Aladdin. But I just love how cinematic this whole thing is. Like they light this thing like it's a stylistic movie. I mean, just the shadows. Just animating the shadows like that is a lost art. You don't get that as often anymore. Because let's face it, with CG animated stuff, the shadows are just a byproduct of where the light source is.
Yeah.
I'm sure they do mess with it and fine tune things a great deal, but still. And I know it's a drawing, but I love the old style radios like that. I wish I had one. I just think they're just awesome designs.
And that's something you wouldn't see in a cartoon anymore. Smoking.
Yeah. Can't think the last time I saw a cartoon where a character was smoking. Maybe Mrs. Doubtfire right at the very start. The whole reason he gets fired is because he doesn't want to do the voice of the parrot smoking. I can't think of any other examples since then. There probably have been some, but did nobody smoke in Batman the Animated Series? Like none of the detectives was like Bullock not smoking.
The only one who had anything to do with that was the Penguin. He had the the holder in his mouth all the time.
True, but I don't remember smoke coming out of it. Like, it was
No.
almost like it was just a prop. Weird.
And it should be noted, I know a lot of people already know this, but the voice of Superman is the great Bud Collyer, who was the voice of Superman in the radio shows of the 1940s.
And you got to get him back. I mean, earlier on there was that one line that he did. You know, it was just he was doing his Clark Kent voice, and he was like, "This looks like a job for a Superman." And it's
Yep.
like the way his voice goes so deep. I can't even slightly do it, but yeah, it's just it's like a slightly more cartoony version of just what Christopher Reeve did with Clark Kent and Superman, with the way he changed the voice. You know, it got more subtle with time, but for this era, it works perfectly.
Yeah, and I believe there was an interview that Bud Collyer did shortly before his death in the 60s where he talked about how he did it. And he said, I would, talk like almost my normal voice, but raise it up a little bit. And then when I would talk as Superman, I would lower it and then also cover my mouth with my face, or my hand, to make it that much different.
It's funny. It's the same sort of thing that, it was even done with Batman in the animated series, with Bruce Wayne's voice was considerably higher than the Batman voice. Kevin Conroy he must have got some of that inspiration from this, considering how much of the Fleischer Superman's DNA was in that show. Because, everybody talks about Kevin Conroy's Batman voice, but his Bruce Wayne voice is something to behold as well.
I mean, this sequence is so great. Just watching the machinery, buckle and melt.
Yeah, the way the molten metal is slightly glowy looking, and just, I mean, I know it's only orange, but it works. And yeah, the way the lighting, even in that previous scene, the way it was flashing and the light was actually being cast on the characters, just gorgeous animation. And there we have it, the first episode of the Fleischer Superman. Just wonderful.
Yep.
The mad scientist character, I'm guessing that his design was supposed to not be Caucasian, to put it mildly. Just from his design, it is slightly reminiscent of some of the propaganda art of certain other races. That's the only thing that lets this episode down, and it is something that the Japateurs has going against it as well. And what's the jungle drums? Yeah. So it's, unfortunately with these things, while you can absolutely marvel at just the beauty of this animation, it is a shame that there are certain little things that are just relics of the time they were made. It's
Yeah, and that's the problem that I have with the Blu Ray set of the Fleischer cartoons. A lot of the episodes, they have to have that disclaimer on it. It says, "Oh, this was made in a time before our enlightenment," or whatever the message is. Most people get that it was made, shall we say, in a darker time.
Yeah, and I like those disclaimers. I think they're the best way to go about it, really, because otherwise you would have some people complaining. But I think really all they needed was one disclaimer before, the Blu-ray menu comes up when you choose the episode. Just have one disclaimer at the start that
Yeah.
covers every episode, or just stick the disclaimer only on the episodes that need it, because
Yeah.
there are only 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I get why they're doing it. It's a little bit irritating when you just want to get into the episode.
yeah, I mean, or even do a little video at the beginning, like if you were watching the Ridley Scott's version of Alien, his director's edition, little intro video saying, "Look, we get it. A lot of the episodes on this box set are questionable."
I mean, that's what they do on TCM, Turner Classic Movies, when they show a lot of movies from like the golden age of Hollywood, and they have to put those disclaimers quite a bit. But usually they have just one of their, I don't know who the guy is, but it always seems to be the same guy in the movies I've seen.
Probably Ben Mankiewicz.
Yeah, probably, and he's just standing there, and he just speaks to camera a little bit, says a little bit of background about the movie. If there is something that people should be aware of, that's where it's mentioned, and then it just gets into the film. And maybe having just a little intro to camera, something. I think sometimes it's gone a little bit too far in the other direction. I like the fact that they've got the notice there. I think it is necessary, but it's just not necessary on every episode.
I will say the design on the mad scientist, he's Caucasian and yet not Caucasian at the same time.
He almost has a slightly Asian looking thing about him, and not even what Asians actually look like. It's just what the sort of propaganda sort of caricature.
Well, I was going to say he looks more ethnic Jewish, from Eastern Europe, because the way the face.
There's definitely elements of that sort of slightly overtly offensive stereotyping. It's almost like he's got a little bit from a bunch of different sources. I would have to, I don't know enough about history to really know whether there was like a stereotypical race that most mad scientists in media were at that time. Maybe there was like a country that was known for doing a lot of scientific and very morally questionable experiments.
Yeah, I can think of one of them.
I can think of one, but I'm not gonna name names. But I mean, it's not just one. There's multiple, But yeah, I just wonder maybe there was one
that has the red and white flag with the crooked cross in it.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's one of those cases where it's just I think there was probably a stereotype for a mad scientist at that time that doesn't quite exist anymore. So it's hard for us to sort of pinpoint exactly what it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just sort of they've taken a bit from a bunch of different places and just sort of made a combination character. But yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately.
But whoever's doing the voice on him, whoever did the voice on him did such a great job. He does come across as menacing and
he doesn't even say very much. He's got how many lines? Like 3 or 4 at most.
Yeah.
And he makes an impact, and if, let's face it, if the character design was supposed to be based on a specific race, I have to commend the voice actor for not leaning into that. If that was the case, it might just be that looking at it through a modern lens that I'm being a little bit too critical of it, but it doesn't stop the episode from being great. The animation is just flawless. I mean, I can't think of a single thing I would change. Maybe I would give Superman a slightly longer cape, but that's just my preference with a costume, But yeah, it's great. There's a reason the Fleischer Superman cartoons are so beloved, and we will have to watch the next one at some point. But
which
this was just an out of the blue thing. We're not going to make this a regular thing. This is just every now and then when we feel like watching a Fleischer Superman, we'll just stick the next one on.
Yeah, the next one is probably one of the best out of the entire series.
And which one is next? I forget.
That's the Mechanical Monsters.
Yes, it's with the flying robots and all of that. Yeah. Maybe
And
we
that,
won't wait too long to get to that one then.
yeah, and that's why I think it was Mezco that recently did a Superman Fleischer series
Mm,
uh, action figure box set, which includes Superman, Clark, Lois, and the mechanical monster.
awesome. I mean, that is just a great design, that mechanical monster. I mean, I know the movie The Iron Giant took some inspiration from it. I mean, you can tell that because Superman is a named character that they reference in the movie. He's
Yeah.
not real in that universe, but Superman is Superman's important to that movie for anyone. I won't say any more than that in case people haven't seen it, but yeah.
And also the designs on the giant robots in Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yes, very, very similar.
They're very.
Didn't they even have like a very similar shot where it was the same shot of all the robots in the sky flying or something? Didn't they literally recreate that?
Yep.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but yeah, just gorgeous. And
then Rob Pratt, when he was doing his Superman classics recently.
Yes. Was it the Bizarro one?
No, it was the actual first one that he did.
Right.
Where Superman just looks up in the sky and there's all these robots, and all he says is, "Great Scott."
Yeah. I wish he would do a third one. Apparently Warner Brothers put a stop to that, but I don't know if that's just a rumor. Yeah.
Well, we'd have to ask Rob because I think we're both friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually spoken to the guy, but yeah, maybe we'll ask him at some point. But either way, 7.5 to an 8, I would say this episode, even though we're not really
as high as an 8, on our
yeah,
scale.
I wouldn't. The fact that we're only ranking it against other Fleischer Superman episodes, and we've not watched any of the other ones yet on camera yet, 7.5 to an 8 is probably about fair. Who knows? Maybe when we watch all of them, we'll go back and do one of our ranking things where we do that preference finder again.
Yes.
And we'll rank them from start to finish and give them a new score at that point. But
Yep.
We're in absolutely no rush to do that. That's part of what I actually like about doing this channel, is that we're not working on anyone's schedule. We literally will just watch what we feel like watching, and I like that because it keeps it fun.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week. Sorry again, by the way, that this week's episode is only 10-15 minutes long, but it's too hot.
Plus, you can't get much more than 10 to 15 minutes out of a Fleischer.
No, maybe we could have watched 2 episodes back to back, but I mean, you can see how bright it is out my window. Usually you can see the other buildings behind me.
Yeah.
You can see fuck all today. So yeah, it's too hot. I'm sweating. I need to go outside and sit down. So see you next week. Goodbye.
All right.
Viacom.